Think you have explored every shadowed corner of horror cinema? Think again. Beneath the well-known titles and celebrated classics lies a collection of films designed to unsettle in ways no audience could fully anticipate. These are the movies whose casts never saw the endings, whose scripts were deliberately fragmented, and whose productions thrived on uncertainty. The fear you witness on screen is not fabricated. It has lived the performer's reactions raw and unguarded. From isolated cult classics to overlooked modern nightmares, these films relied on secrecy to heighten the intensity of performance. Actors were often given only portions of the script, their understanding intentionally incomplete, so that their confusion and vulnerability translated into authentic terror. Improvised reactions, unplanned hesitations, and spontaneous expressions of dread became the heartbeat of these stories, blurring the line between fiction and reality. Each of the 15 films in this countdown represents a unique experiment in narrative concealment. Some emerged from forgotten decades, others from obscure corners of more recent cinema. In every case, the secrecy imposed on the cast created a tension that penetrated the frame, leaving viewers unsettled long after the final scene faded to black. Tonight, we will step into that hidden domain, exploring 15 horror films, where endings were sealed, scripts were partial, and the actor's genuine fear became the pulse of the story. Prepare to experience cinema, where the unknown reigns and the performer's uncertainty amplifies every moment of dread. Fact 1. Rosemary's Baby, 1968. Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby relied on secrecy to reinforce narrative tension. Mia Farrow was given an incomplete script, excluding crucial details about the cult and the baby's fate. This limited knowledge intensified her character's confusion and fear, producing performances that felt instinctive and psychologically authentic. Interactions with the cult were executed with minimal rehearsal, preventing Farrow from anticipating pivotal moments. Her subtle gestures, trembling expressions, and whispered exclamations conveyed genuine dread. By the time the ending was revealed in editing, the actor's uncertainty had already been embedded in the performances, amplifying the horror's effect on the audience. Rosemary's Baby illustrates how withholding critical plot information from performers can heighten suspense, transforming natural reactions into cinematic terror that resonates decades later. Fact 2. The Shining, 1980. Stanley Kubrick's approach to The Shining leveraged secrecy to heighten psychological tension. Shelley Duvall and the supporting cast received constantly revised scripts, with critical sequences and emotional guidance withheld until moments before filming. This unpredictability forced authentic reactions, reflecting the mental strain of their characters in the story. The set itself was subtly manipulated. Lighting shifts, repositioned furniture, and carefully timed sound effects produced an environment of constant uncertainty. Duvall's mounting anxiety and Jack Nicholson's volatile energy contributed to performances that felt genuine, unstructured, and emotionally charged. Climactic sequences were obscured from the actors, amplifying disorientation and fear. Their real-time responses to narrative ambiguity enriched the film's psychological tension, creating a haunting realism. The Shining exemplifies how concealing information can translate directly into emotionally compelling horror performances. Fact 3. The Wicker Man, 1973. The Wicker Man's unsettling power extended beyond its story into the production itself. Edward Woodward, portraying Sergeant Howie, received only fragments of the script deliberately kept from revealing the climactic ritual. The supporting cast was given even less information, instructed to behave as if they held secrets unknown to Howie, mirroring their actual lack of knowledge. During field sequences, props and cues were altered between takes to provoke spontaneous reactions. Woodward's startled pauses, hesitant steps, and incredulous expressions were authentic, captured live as he confronted events he had not anticipated. The director's strategy ensured that the performer's disorientation and unease directly contributed to the film's tension. When the final cut premiered, actors were confronted with sequences and outcomes they had never imagined. The Wicker Man demonstrates how withholding key narrative information can amplify horror by converting genuine confusion into cinematic suspense, making the actors' reactions inseparable from the story's eerie power. Fact 4. The Blair Witch Project, 1999. Few productions embraced secrecy as radically as The Blair Witch Project. Actors were sent into the Maryland woods with skeletal scripts outlining only minimal emotional beats. They had no knowledge of daily scenes' environmental manipulations or narrative trajectory, which forced instinctive responses to events in real time. The filmmakers orchestrated subtle disruptions, tents shaken at night twig arrangements, and hidden sound cues. These interventions created genuine disorientation and tension, captured authentically on camera. The actors' exhaustion, confusion, and fear became central to the film's immersive atmosphere, reflecting the narrative's mounting dread. The climactic basement scene exemplifies this method. Only one actor knew the details. The rest confronted the final moments blind. Heather Donahue's startled reactions and whispered terror were unplanned, a testament to the production's strategy. The Blair Witch Project proves that withholding narrative information from performers can transform real fear into compelling cinematic horror, leaving an indelible impression on audiences. Fact 5. Session 9, 2001. Session 9 relied on the isolation of its setting and the actors' incomplete understanding of the story. Brad Anderson distributed only partial scripts, leaving key plot points and the ending undisclosed. This cultivated authentic unease as performers explored the abandoned Danvers State Hospital without knowing what awaited them. During the recording booth sequences, actors responded to unexpected audio cues introduced during filming. These reactions were spontaneous, producing a visceral realism that heightened psychological tension. The actors' fear was not simply simulated. It was shaped by their genuine disorientation and anticipation of unknown events. To maintain the effect, multiple potential endings were filmed, and the cast remained unaware of which would be used. This deliberate secrecy ensured the third act's suspense was grounded in real uncertainty. Session 9 demonstrates the power of narrative concealment, transforming instinctive actor reactions into cinematic dread that engages audiences on a psychological level. Fact 6. The Changeling, 1980. The Changeling created its haunting atmosphere not only through haunted mansions, but through actor uncertainty. George C. Scott, cast as the grieving composer, received only fragments of the script, withholding crucial plot revelations. This deliberate lack of information ensured that his expressions of anxiety, hesitation, and mounting unease were entirely authentic. A pivotal seance scene demonstrates the effectiveness of this approach. Scott anticipated a calm, measured moment, yet the crew manipulated lights, sounds, and props unexpectedly. His startled reactions, wide-eyed gazes, and halting movements were captured on camera in real time. Rather than rehearsed performance, these instinctive responses became integral to the film's suspenseful rhythm. The ending of the story remained guarded, providing only minimal context for the climactic reveal. When Scott finally confronted the truth during filming, his reaction, mixing surprise and emotional gravity, was genuine and carried directly into the final cut. The Changeling exemplifies how withholding narrative information from actors can elevate horror, transforming uncertainty into palpable, immersive tension. Fact 7. Possession, 1981. Possession remains notorious for Isabella Adjani's raw performance, achieved through deliberate secrecy. Director Andrzej Zulawski withheld key plot points, and the ending providing fragmented scripts. Actors often received instructions minutes before filming, leaving them disoriented and emotionally unmoored. One notable sequence, the subway scene, was filmed without rehearsal. Adjani's reactions, fear, shock, and confusion were genuine. Multiple endings were shot, and the cast was unaware which would define the narrative. The emotional dissonance captured in the film reflects real uncertainty, amplifying the psychological intensity. Possession demonstrates how withholding critical information can turn instinctive actor responses into unforgettable cinematic horror. Fact 8. The Beyond, 1981. Lucio Fulci's The Beyond leveraged secrecy to deepen horror. Actors received partial scripts and vague instructions, ensuring they could not predict the narrative. During basement sequences, the lead actress encountered grotesque prosthetics, unexpectedly producing genuine reactions captured in a single take. The ending was concealed from the cast, leaving them uncertain about their role in the climax. This deliberate ambiguity generated authentic tension, with actors' fear and disorientation permeating the film. The result is a palpable dread that resonates precisely because the performers experienced the story in real time, responding instinctively to events they could not foresee. Fact 9. Phantasm, 1979. Phantasm's dreamlike, disorienting world extended behind the camera through deliberate secrecy. Director Don Coscarelli withheld the final act from the cast, providing scripts that changed daily, some contradicting previous takes. The tall man's sudden appearances were timed to elicit authentic fear from the actors, producing unfiltered reactions captured on film. A corridor scene highlights this approach. Angus Scrim lunged unexpectedly while other performers had no idea what would occur. Their startled responses, hesitant steps, and audible exclamations were spontaneous, conveying genuine terror. Multiple endings were shot without informing the actors, which would be used, preserving the authenticity of confusion. This careful manipulation allowed Phantasm to create an atmosphere where fear was experienced as much as performed. Fact 10. The Legend of Hell House, 1973. In The Legend of Hell, house actors confronted a set designed to keep them off balance. The director withheld the ending and essential narrative details, compelling performers to react spontaneously to environmental cues and practical effects. Scenes such as the seance were executed without rehearsal, leaving actors vulnerable to sudden table movements and unpredictable lighting shifts. Their startled reactions were captured as part of the film's tension. The climax remained undisclosed, amplifying uncertainty throughout filming. This lack of knowledge forced authentic emotional responses that were integrated into the final product. The actors' hesitations, startled glances, and instinctive fear contributed to a palpable, immersive horror. The Legend of Hell House demonstrates the impact of deliberate secrecy on performance, turning real disorientation into cinematic dread. Fact 11. Shadow of the Hawk, 1976. Shadow of the Hawk relied on secrecy to maintain its eerie atmosphere. The cast received only fragmented scripts, leaving crucial sequences and character fates undisclosed. This method created genuine unease among performers whose reactions became central to the film's tension. Forest sequences were especially designed to provoke real responses, with sudden sounds, shifting lights, and manipulated props causing authentic confusion. A climactic nighttime ritual was filmed without rehearsal. Actors had no idea how events would unfold, and their startled, uncertain movements were preserved on camera. The director provided multiple contradictory explanations of the ending to sustain disorientation. By the time the final cut premiered, performers were shocked by the sequence of events, their authentic confusion adding a layer of realism. Shadow of the Hawk exemplifies how secrecy can heighten horror, blending performance with genuine emotion. Fact 12. Blood Beach, 1980. On the sun-baked beaches of Santa Monica, a blood beach created terror not just with its unseen menace, but through the actor's own uncertainty. The director provided only partial scripts, keeping the final sequences secret. Actors never knew where or how the monstrous threat would strike, forcing instinctive, authentic reactions that heightened the film's unsettling atmosphere. In one particularly memorable scene, a lead actor was instructed to search the sand for an unseen danger. The crew triggered sudden collapses and moving props without warning, producing genuine fear and startled responses. Every flinch, glance, and tremor became part of the cinematic tension. These unscripted reactions were recorded on film and incorporated into the final cut, giving the horror a tangible, unpredictable edge. Even the climax was tightly guarded, with multiple endings filmed to prevent the cast from anticipating the narrative's conclusion. When the actors finally saw the completed film, the unplanned moments of shock and hesitation intensified the story's suspense. Blood Beach demonstrates how withholding crucial plot information can turn actors' authentic fear into a compelling cinematic experience that lingers with viewers. Fact 13. The Kindred, 1987. The production of The Kindred was infamous for keeping its cast uninformed about the nature of the monstrous threats and narrative conclusion. Actors were given intentionally incomplete scripts, with vague directions ensuring their responses were guided by instinct rather than rehearsal. This approach created performances steeped in authentic uncertainty and fear. In a laboratory sequence, performers were instructed to interact with animatronic creatures without knowing their precise movements or appearance. The resulting startled responses, hesitations, and spontaneous reactions were captured in real time, providing an emotional authenticity that conventional acting techniques could not replicate. The ending was filmed with multiple variations, each concealed from the actors, to maintain the effect of unpredictability. When the final cut was assembled, performers were confronted with sequences they had never fully understood during production. The Kindred illustrates how controlled secrecy can be used to elevate horror-producing performances that are genuinely disoriented, intensifying tension, and blurring the line between character fear and actor experience. Fact 14. Jennifer, 1978. On the surface, Jennifer presents a tale of vengeance and supernatural influence, but behind the camera, the production concealed critical plot details from the cast. Actors received partial scripts that hinted at Jennifer's evolving abilities while obscuring the story's climax. By keeping the performers uninformed, the filmmakers ensured that reactions on screen were spontaneous, emotional, and unpredictably raw. A standout sequence takes place inside a dimly lit classroom where Jennifer interacts with classmates unaware of her powers. Only the actress portraying Jennifer knew the intent of the scene. The rest of the cast had to respond without guidance. The results were strikingly authentic. The nervous movements, stammered lines, and palpable hesitation conveyed genuine anxiety rather than scripted performance. The production strategy allowed fear to emerge organically, giving the film an unnerving realism. The conclusion was shot under strict secrecy, with multiple variations filmed to protect the final revelation. The lead actress later remarked that working under these conditions heightened her sense of vulnerability and emotional intensity. Jennifer exemplifies how withholding narrative information from performers can intensify horror, turning their instinctive reactions into cinematic tension that resonates with audiences decades later. Fact 15. Dark August, 1976. Set deep in the misty forests of Vermont. Dark August thrived on a production philosophy that deliberately kept its actors in the dark. The director withheld the final sections of the script, providing only fragments hinting at supernatural rituals and curses. This intentional uncertainty forced performers to navigate the narrative, turning instinctive reactions into the core of their on-screen terror. One unforgettable scene involved the lead actor walking alone into a clearing at twilight. Crew members manipulated lighting and props without prior warning, triggering authentic startle responses. Every hesitation, glance over the shoulder, and tremor in voice was genuine and a reflection of being unaware of what might happen next. Rather than rehearsed fear, the camera captured real emotional disorientation that amplified the tension on screen. The film's ending remained a closely guarded secret, with only a handful of crew members knowing the ultimate resolution. When the actors viewed the final cut, they discovered twists and reveals they had never anticipated, cementing the authenticity of their performances. Dark August demonstrates how withholding narrative information from performers can produce visceral, compelling horror that lingers in the mind. The genuine confusion and dread experienced by the cast became inseparable from the film's unsettling atmosphere. Bonus pick, Don't Look Now, 1973. Before concluding, there is one final film that embodies the extremes of narrative secrecy. Don't Look Now relied on deliberate concealment to heighten the performances of its cast. Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland received scripts with crucial scenes redacted, particularly those leading to the climactic sequences. Director Nicholas Roeg believed that genuine emotional responses would only emerge from actors experiencing events without complete knowledge. Throughout production, Roeg manipulated the order of filming and introduced unforeseen cues. Props, lighting, and environmental adjustments were altered in real time to provoke instinctive reactions. Christie later described being unable to anticipate scenes, logically responding entirely through intuition. This approach transformed fear and disorientation into authentic cinematic tension. The film's most striking moment, the final red-hooded encounter, was captured with minimal prior disclosure. Sutherland believed he would encounter a symbolic or suggestive scene, yet the sudden appearance of the red-cloaked figure created a genuine startle. His astonishment and immediate reactions were preserved, giving the sequence an unfiltered intensity that resonates decades later. Roeg's method ensured that the actor's real uncertainty became an essential element of the film's atmosphere. The lingering sense of dread, the unanticipated shocks, and the raw emotional honesty distinguish Don't Look Now as a unique study in harnessing secrecy for cinematic horror. This final entry reinforces the central theme: when endings are hidden from performers, the terror they experience is lived and ultimately transmitted to the audience with undeniable impact. If these sealed script horrors pulled you deeper into the genre's hidden corners, stay close. The stories born from uncertainty often linger the longest, leaving questions that echo long after the final frame. Which moment unsettled you the most, and which of these films left a mark you didn't expect? Share your thoughts below and step with us into the shadows again soon.